Before the video starts, just a quick reminder that this video will obviously contain spoilers from all previous Xenoblade titles, except X. That's just how it is, I'm sorry. But nonetheless, thank you for being here, and I hope that you will enjoy the following video. The Connection series, the first line of videos that kicked off this channel, gave it the first real push. Over 9 months old at this point, and you know, since then quite a bit has changed on here, which is great. I'm figuring out more and more ways to create even better videos, learning and finding new tools, which all greatly improve the overall quality of the videos. One of these tools is made by a block builder who made a fantastic job at creating quote-unquote tools for all Xenoblade games on Switch. One of them being a free cam for all the games and its DLC. Though unfortunately you gotta have the specific version for some of these games. For example, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 version 2.0.0, which I don't have. And I have a community Discord. Maybe you'd like to have a look? Would be great, I'm just saying. But with the first and third game I reached places I definitely wasn't intended to reach. The conduit is a portal to different realities in this multiverse. Boy, I just have to be real fast, and that's all it takes to swoop into another dimension. Anyways, to show it off today, we can finally gather up all the connections that I, and some of you, could find in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. Let's have a look, shall we? We finally know who these characters from the city are. Obviously we have Shulk and Rex, the main characters of the first 2 Xenoblade games, both grown up with some massive dead energy. If you haven't realized, for some reason, yes, they are both dead now. Heavily implied multiple times throughout the story and heart-to-hearts. As a small example, the heart-to-heart between Shulk and Nicole on the lookout spot in Colony 9, where Shulk talks about a good old friend that brought him an infinite amount of sandwiches with special herbs and spices. That being Fiora, of course. It's also implied in another heart-to-heart at Dunban's house that they're pretty much married. And yes, Dunban is also indirectly mentioned. As a matter of fact, they are all pretty much indirectly mentioned, without saying any names. Yeah, Monolith Soft sure loves to tease us. Same goes for Glimmer, even though I would argue it's even more obvious here, especially with that Aegis Core crystal on her chest, and multiple of Rex's reactions to pretty much everything she does. Also, not a stretch and something that everyone pretty much agrees on, is that Panacea is the daughter of Ryan and Charla, thus was Shulk, and also, maybe you remember, for Shulk and Rex it was mentioned that they wanted their mentor to be represented here. So Shulk for Panacea and Rex for Linka. So both Panacea and Linka are the actual founders, and you can also see them on the loading screen after finishing the story. Linka, by the way, being the daughter of Zeke and Pandoria. Zeke is also mentioned as the mentor of Rex, because of the lost eye and kinda looking like him now, even though Zeke hasn't lost an eye, but he was just hella broke. But he just needed an eye patch now. A is just straight up Elvis, even though Alpha looks like Elvis and A is more like his consciousness. But I'm talking about connections and references here, so yeah, I'm drifting off. Now, Riku is a common variety no pun, and is one of the many little puns of Ricky, as we once again learn indirectly through a heart-to-heart again. If you reach a certain point rather near towards the end of the story, I think it was the peak of Valak Mountain. Speaking of Riku, the master pawn, we questioned ourselves who that could be. Well, from the same heart-to-heart we learned that Riku's master pawn was Melia, and he received Lucky 7 from her. And its name Lucky 7 is a reference to the original cast of the first Xenoblade Chronicles. There, 7. I don't know why lucky, because some of them haven't been exactly lucky, but oh well. Yeah, I love this DLC. Did I mention that? I think I did. At the end we find out that Pneuma's core is in Matthew's Fists of the End. And then later on, also in Noah's Sheath. It is also multiple times heavily implied that the core of Logos is also part of End's Sheath, for the Sword of the End, Malos the Endbringer, which would be the second Xenoblade plot in some way all over again. Like I said, I love everything about it. By the way, the Gem Man is also mentioned. Thank you very much. First up, we can finally see more Ardain in full picture, which wasn't exactly the case in the base game, which counts as well for Gormott. We can assume that annihilation events took place quite a lot on here, so much so that it took quite a toll on the Titans, while Prison Island is pretty much the same too from the first game, also with these beautiful thunders just like in the first game too. The Corridor of Silence, with every corner being nearly identical and the teleporters unfortunately broken. And Gondorl Cathedral? Man, did I mention I love it? And around Prison Island, aka the Black Mountains, we have parts of Valak Mountain, also noticeable with these beautiful crystals shining up into the sky. There's also a high N-tier tomb from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 that you can find on the Black Mountains. Tantal, being directly mentioned by Rex while running around the ruins that are sometimes a one-to-one replica to the ruins you see in the second game. And also these symbols, exactly like in the second game. We also have Ragel Lake here, with I would still argue that being some overgrown mushrooms, and the place where Juju messed up badly. I'm kinda curious where this dude actually went. I kinda expected to see him again, but guess not. Thank Klaus we didn't. And there's also just the Titan Uriah laying there. By the way, would you like a video where I discover more such out-of-bounds secrets? Let me know in the comments. And a like would be appreciated. You know, it kinda helps me out here, so thank you very much. Generally speaking, the DLC has many areas that have the same name as some places from previous games, but sometimes have barely any similarities. There's a place that has barely changed to the first game too. Colony 9. If you finish the first game and have a closer look at how Colony 9 then looks, it is pretty much identical to Future Redeemed. And of course also the Outlook Park. Man, it's full of references and fan service, but it's so well and tastefully done. Then the Ether Furnace in Colony 9 with the To Me reference. To me! Woo! You can also find Dunban and Fiora's house, that's unfortunately in a rather rough state. But you can find two heart-to-hearts there, where, as mentioned before, Dunban and Fiora are both teased, and Dunban being Shulk's brother-in-law now. The ruins close to Colony 9 are actually the ruins that you find at the Cliffs of Moritha from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Maybe you remember from the story of 2, it's also something that Rex mentions to Glimmer, where Rex made a promise to Pithra and unlocks the real power of the Aegis. Probably the biggest surprise in this DLC was seeing Moritha in its complete beauty, from the city itself to the elevator that goes up the beanstalk. I was flabbergasted, that's for sure. There's also a scene with Jupiter rather close to the end, which is, of course, a callback to the finale of the first Xenoblade game. During the scene with Niall and the kids, they want her to play
Our plane! Niall, boy! Tomorrow with you!
When visiting Colony 9 you get the same area music and even the same battle music.
What is that? Some sort of tower?
Where?
Over there.
Do you hear that music?
Is that it?
Oh my god, Tephra
I
Hill.
can see it now. We're getting close.
Oh my poor heart.
Right, let's do this!
You dare challenge Hillbon?
Leave it to Ryan!
I think we should be fine against this one.
We may have our hands full with this one.
It's unwise, but if we must.
Oh, it's even the same battle theme. Oh, that's crazy. I'm sure we had all the same exact reactions. If you didn't know, I streamed the DLC live on the channel. If you're curious on my reactions. I know, how dare I advertise my own stuff in my own videos. Disgusting, filthy. Prison Island is a nice mix of the original Prison Island theme and the World Tree theme from the second game. At least that's how it sounded to me, in my humble opinion. A fun fact that the vocalist at the end of the DLC is the same one that also sung the ending themes for Xenogears and Xenosaga. And another little fun fact, when arriving to the Alpha stage in Origin, the menu music is overwritten. And not only the menu music, but also the chain attack music. This is it. That is actually something surprising, but at the same time kinda don't. A has some same arts as Alvis in the first game. Have a listen.
Cross Ray! Lost Ray!
Cross Ray. Lost Ray. Shaker Edge.
Stream Edge! Split Edge! Monado Buster! Monado Purge! Anchor Shot! Double Spinning Edge!
What was that?
Double Spinning Edge!
Could you repeat that again?
Double Spinning Edge! Jewel Blast! Infinity Blade!
By the way, if you didn't know that, Infinity Blade was Pneuma's level 4.
Calling Siren. Do you read me? Infinity Blade!
Rex and Glimmer had an attack on N that was just like Pyra and Rex attacking Malos in 2. Even though it doesn't really count under the art topic, but Nicole has the same running animation as Shulk, and Glimmer has the same one as Pyra. Just some neat little details. The unique monster that you can find on Prison Island, Dragon King Alcar, actually reappears in a cave called the Rexial Lava Flow, with a beautiful reskin a la Smash Bros. Let's not forget Avalanche Bastion while at peak though, as a Fog Beast version. The spider boss, which is called Clifftop Bayan, from the Daksha Shrine, is mentioned here with the place being waterlogged now. White Eduardo from Bragel Lake was a boss that only appeared on stormy days on an island, which is mentioned here again. But of course there are a lot of reappearing enemies as always, but that was worth the additional chapter. The following points are gonna be somewhat randoms, but yeah, it's just connections I saw here and there. Alvis has the Monado 1, which is the weapon that is, well, you know it all. And our daddy Shulk uses the future connected Monado replica. No, I'm not sorry. There seems to be some connections to Xenoblade X and Saga, but like I said, I don't have any damn clue about it since I haven't played them, and I'm sorry, I don't have anything to add to that. But eventually I will, promised. I mentioned the Bringer of Chaos before. Well, guess what? Zeke wrote a book about his life. You can find his book as an item in Gaur Plains. Origin's face looks like a combination of Amalthus and Zanza. There's a line that Rex says about bringing smiles on people's faces from the final boss in 2.
If it helps put smiles on people's faces, helps them live their lives together, then that's my role in this world!
The same thing I'm trying to do with all of my videos, which I'm hoping that it works. But he says the same line in his story-related Heart-to-Heart with Glimmer.
If through my fighting, someone out there gets to smile, that's the kind of world I want to help create.
Also, Alpha looks rather similar to Zanza with the wing hanging there like a one-winged angel, and the idea of inhabiting a body as a vessel, which happened with Niall, is just something that Zanza would do.
Oh dear, I'm not really feeling that.
No, indeed. Neither was I.
I'm really feeling it!
I like your attitude, kiddo. I'll show my thing goes free.
I like your attitude.
We now know also why Glimmer and Nicole lived over 80 years, because it was a gift given from their parents, Shulk and Rex. A nice detail that I found by the user Drequaza on Twitter was that the symbols of the founders were after the weapons that they were using. Very cool detail, thank you. Another detail by Drequaza was the family tree of the whole Xeno family, so if you want you can pause the video here and just have a quick look. A neat little detail also mentioned by Space Goat was that during a scene at the rest spot, A is training Matthew, correcting his stance and execution of a fairly basic straight arm punch, drilling him over and even bonking him on his head if he does it incorrectly. Rather weird, you might think, because Matthew is a competent martial artist. But at the end of the game, when they all interlink into a single Ouroboros, it's this exact punch that he uses as a killing blow to end Alpha, in the exact same stance, same posture, same foot placement, and the punch. To not catch the giant Monado into its face, which is a great detail in my opinion, thank you for mentioning that. And at the end, Ouroboros was the reason that helped the both universes to interlink with each other and finally live in peace. Until we reach our limit and we'll all die in a death of overheating. That's pretty great. And that is most of the connections that we could find. Did I miss something? Let me know. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe learned something that you maybe didn't know or haven't realized yet. In any case, thank you all guys for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See you guys later.